Hey, welcome. Today, we're diving into a really beautiful story about a very unlikely pair. It's called The Elephant and the Mouse, a story of true strength. And trust me, it has a lesson in it that's pretty powerful for all of us.
And it all really boils down to this one question. Can the absolute smallest creature teach the biggest lesson? Well, let's jump in and find out. Okay, so our story starts deep in this amazing, vibrant jungle. And it's here that we meet our first character, a real giant who, let's just say, has a lot to learn about the world and everyone else in it. So on one side, we've got Edgar the elephant. He's huge, he's powerful, but his world, it's all about him. Then you have Milo the mouse. He's tiny, almost unnoticeable, but his heart is just full of kindness for others. You really couldn't find two more different characters living in the same place.
And this is the real problem with Edgar. His biggest flaw was actually pretty simple. He was just incredibly selfish. He had no idea and, frankly, didn't care how his actions were affecting anyone else.
But things are about to get shaken up because the smallest, quietest voice in the whole jungle is about to find the courage to speak. So, picture this. One day down by the river, Edgar is just stomping along, not paying attention to anything, and he carelessly steps right on poor Milo. Edgar was so big and Milo was so small that he probably barely even felt it. Now, even though he was probably pretty scared and definitely hurt, Milo did something brave. He squeaked up to this giant elephant and said, "I'm just a small mouse, but I also have a life and feelings." It wasn't angry. It was just a little plea to be seen. And Edgar's response, well, it was exactly what you'd expect. He just looked down and said, "Why should I care about a tiny creature like you?" Just so cold, so dismissive. Now, here's where the story takes a really cool turn. Milo could have been angry. He could have been sad. But instead, he decided to do something completely different. He started something that would create this amazing ripple of kindness through the whole jungle.
Yeah, instead of getting upset, Milo just decided to spread kindness. He started doing all these little helpful things, helping some birds with their nests, sharing his food with the squirrels, even giving the super busy ants a hand.
And what do you know? These small, kind acts started having a huge effect. Word got around about how generous and caring Milo was, and pretty soon all the animals, big and small, really began to admire him. He was building a community, all through being nice. And all this admiration for this tiny little mouse? Well, it didn't go unnoticed. Eventually, all that positivity started to reach even the selfish heart of Edgar the elephant. And that's when a change started to happen. Milo's actions really are the perfect definition of this word. Considerate. It just means showing careful thought for the feelings of others. And that's the exact lesson Edgar was just starting to learn. So how did this big change actually happen? It was a journey, for sure. First, Edgar just watched. He saw how much everyone loved Milo. That got him thinking, reflecting on his own selfish behavior. Then, he humbly went to Milo and actually apologized. And then came the most important step of all. He started doing his own acts of kindness.
And his apology to Milo, you could just tell it came from the heart. He said, "Your actions have taught me that true strength lies not in size or power, but in the way we treat others." Wow, he finally got it.
And that big realization, well, that brings us to the end of our story and to its most powerful lesson about what true strength really truly is. From that day on, Edgar wasn't just the biggest animal in the jungle anymore. He became a valued, admired member of the community, all because he learned to be considerate. So the moral of the story is simple, but it's so profound, isn't it?
True strength has nothing to do with how big or powerful you are. It's all about your capacity for kindness and how you treat the people and creatures all around you.
And that kind of leaves us with one last thing to think about. Who is the Milo in your life? You know, that person who teaches you about kindness, maybe without even trying. And what can you learn from them? Thanks so much for joining us for this one.